important is it to have a good supervisor, good guiding journey throughout your PhD years?
She was the one who never contributed herself rather than taking credit for her. And mental and emotional stress also, because it's a long journey. Your work, so many times your work gets
At what stage students usually lose motivation? Is it in the beginning, the middle, or near the end?
feel like crying like anything, right? Deadlines or something, you have to do the work according to your pace. You have to submit your work accordingly, because giving your viva is a stress. But yes, there is a less chances of quitting it, because scholar knows that they have already covered the so much.
Okay, Rachna. So I have a few friends who started off their PhD journey, and I started off with my corporate journey at the same time. Today, after almost 5 to 6 years, they have just completed their degree, and I am earning a handsome amount of salary, and even I'm able to save for my future. But on the other hand, they are still jobless, looking for job, and even contacting me at times asking for job. So what is your take on this?
So I think
Hello and welcome to the first episode of Unfiltered PhD series, the show where we will dive into the research world, curiosity, and the roller coaster journey of entering into a PhD. I am your host, Ms Gupta. So, whether you are a current doctoral student or maybe one who's considering to get enrolled in PhD, or simply just fascinated by how a new knowledge is created, then you're into the right place. Each week, we'll pull back the curtains of a PhD journey where we will address the challenges, the breakthroughs, and in between real doubt sessions. Today, we have Ms Rachna Gupta, a current PhD scholar, who will shed light on her journey, the breakthroughs, the late night epiphanies, and definitely her experience of earning this PhD degree.
hello everyone, my name is Rachna Gupta and I'm a PhD scholar. I'm doing my PhD from Ms Rachna University, Faridabad, Haryana itself. And I'm here to share my personal PhD journey with you all.
Thank you, Rachna, for your presence and your brief introduction. Okay, so I would start with, how did you think yourself of getting enrolled into a PhD?
So yeah, thank you, Matt, for asking such a good question. Yeah, that was beginning of my PhD journey. So I started it when I completed my graduation and post graduation, and since it was my dream to prefix doctor with my name. So because I was a commerce student, so cannot go back to the science, but yes, then I thought of why not PhD. So when it hits to me, like yes, I have to do PhD, but doing my post graduation journey, sometimes I like quitting is the best option, because it requires a lot of dedication, patience, and time. But due to family commitments, I jumped into the MNCs and all. So I thought I will not be able to contribute that much of time. But yes, again, it was my dream. So my brother supported me a lot. And one day he was sitting with me and we were having a late night conversation. So he gave me such motivation that why can't you do it? Yes, you can do it. I'm there to support you. But yes, internal courage will be yours. So basically for doing PhD, I think not intelligence matters a lot. Rather than intelligence, courage matters a lot. So then I enrolled myself in the PhD and I started working for clearing my entrance exam. And the moment I got the result and my entrance exam was clear, that was, I was in the top of the world. I was feeling like that. So that was a moment it hit ki, yes, I can do, when I cleared my entrance exam. So that was the thing which hit me, and then I started doing my PhD. But yes, even during 6 months of my PhD journey, there were major setback when my supervisor being allotted to me. In initial stage, my supervisor was not supportive at all, right?
Okay, so like last line you mentioned that your supervisor was not at all supportive at the moment initially.
Yeah.
So this brings me to my next question. How important is it to have a good supervisor, good guiding journey throughout your PhD years?
See, I am blessed enough to enroll myself in Ms Rachna University, and my HOD sir and chairman sir, he's very supportive. So when I have an interaction with him, again I got a lot of motivation from him. And but the initially supervisor was allotted me was not at all, good to me. And she was the one who never contributed herself rather than taking, credit for her. She believes more in false statement rather than showing me the correct path, right? She always want work from me, that's it. Like a dictatorship kind of a thing. So initial 6 months was like nightmares for me, that how I will be going to work with this supervisor, right? Then and again, that was the toughest part, because you are blank at that stage, because PhD is entirely different from your graduation, post graduation. It's a research program which I have never done. So it's a baby step for me, it's a baby product for me, kind of a thing, you can say. So I was like in a nightmares, and I was like feeling quitting at the very early stage rather than going, I feel like let me quit it at the earliest stage, because it will not be feasible for me having such a bad supervisor with me. I won't say bad, means not supportive supervisor with me along with my corporate journey, right? Along with family and other commitments too, personal commitments too. Then the challenge was selecting a title, because you are quite fresher in this industry, you don't know how to select the titles, what kind of gaps you have to learn about. Then one day I thought of, rather than quitting, let's talk to the dean sir. And I went to him and I just pour my heart in front of him, that I'm not getting this support from my supervisor, so I just want to quit. So he said me, okay, just relax and tell me what all are the problems you are getting it. I just poured my heart and told him everything. Then he said, means you want a good supervisor for that, but don't quit, because I can see potential in you. So that's again bring a again boost up me. He just boost up me for with this these words again boost up me. And then he changed my supervisor, and then I'm blessed enough to get the best supervisor, Dr. Akansha Singh. Actually, she's my everything in my PhD journey. She's the one who supports me, who contributes herself in my papers and all. And during writing my all the thesis work and everything, she supports me a lot. So getting a good supervisor means a lot, because PhD is a journey. You and your supervisor both goes in the same way. So actually getting a good supervisor means a lot in your PhD journey.
Okay, so all I can get in, if I would sum up this, it would be right from your title selection till the completion of your PhD, right?
Right.
Support of good supervisor means a lot.
Actually, it's mandatory. Yeah.
It's mandatory.
Yeah.
Okay, I would come to proposals. I've recently it has been into the news that proposal approval sometimes takes months or even a lot more time. So can you let us know why do proposal acceptance takes a lot of time in this process?
Yes, sometimes proposal, get delays. Yeah, because multiple layers of approvals are required. There is not a single person involved in this process. This process is a hierarchical process, right? Based on one another. Like when, of course, first point is your supervisor. When I'm writing anything about my proposal, I'm showing it to my supervisor. So first point, my first point of contact is my supervisor only, right? So I'm putting my proposal in front of my supervisor. Of course, she will take some time to review it, and then it's move on to my HOD, then chairman, then dean, and of course external faculties are also involved in this. So again, it's a huge process, it's an enormous process to get it clarified. And then not only this factor is involved, another factors are also there. For example, heavy workload of the faculty and committees. So when, of course, they are already overburdened with the work because they have multiple scholars. So again, it's a time taking process. Not only this, in fact, being a scholar, sometimes even we are also have a laid back activities kind of a thing. For example, we don't show their original research. We are into plagiarism. So basically it is when you are just copying your work and showing, which PhD cannot accept at all, right? So that is also, and of course ethical clearance take times. So if you want your work ethical to be published later on, so it take time. So this is the only reason that our proposal approvals take a lot of time, not only months, sometimes even it beyond the years also.
Is there some sort of favoritism or internal politics in the approval committees?
Honestly, yes. It happens sometimes, but not always. Sometimes yes, sometimes no, I would say. So yeah, a bit of favoritism, internal politics, and bias can slip in between, because it's a human system, right? A university is one where people are working. So it's a human tendency, to give a favoritism. Where it happens mostly, when the work of senior supervisor and junior supervisors turns on. Sometimes, not only sometimes, in fact every time, whatever the senior supervisor is suggesting you gives them more weightage rather than junior supervisor. Then too, the work of the junior supervisors may be a good work, or the scholars having a good work, but opinions are also matters. Sometimes opinions of different senior supervisor may be different and junior supervisor may be different. So that is again a major factor of favorism and all. So yes, it involves sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned about your first supervisor, so do supervisors push students to select topics based on their own research project?
Not always, but yes, sometimes it's, again I would say yes, because I am blessed enough to get good supervisor. She always motivated me to go in my own topics, right? And though she's always a person who do a churning with me also in my topic, though it was not her core topic, but still she do a lot of efforts with me. But generally what happens, supervisors always push the children to take the topics which they are into it, because whenever they publish the papers or they write any thesis, that work also counts under the supervisor, because they are the co-authors of the work, right? And this is the one factor. And if I talk about another factor, so yes, because they are already thorough about that topic, so it is more convenient for them to guide their scholars rather than taking a new topic, and again they have to study on it before guiding to their scholars. That is also a major factor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, is it true that one bad supervisor can derail an entire journey of PhD?
Yes, I experienced, I already mentioned
Yeah.
my first supervisor. Yeah, exactly. Bad supervisor can derail your entire PhD journey, because PhD is not wholesale which you are alone doing. Your supervisor and you are going a parallel. Your supervisor is a one who is guiding you throughout your this journey, and this is not a small journey. PhD
Yeah.
is a journey of 3 to 5 years at least, if you talk about on papers. So it's a long journey with your supervisor. So number one, I can mention difference of opinion is a very, very, big thing, because when you start with of course, every human or every individual have a different opinions on the same. So somehow you have to agree with your, supervisors, this thing. And of course, delay feedbacks. You are sending your work for them to review it, and they are giving you a very delay feedback. They're not checking your mails, they are not responding your calls, they're not responding your messages, is again a factor. And of course, poor guidance, because they are not that much pro in your area or whatever the topic you have chosen for. So they are not able to give you that accurate guidance or accurate suggestions. So again, that is also one of a factor. So of course, one of the major factor is over controlling. Sometimes, that I talk about my previous supervisor, she was over controlling. So she was trying to control me like that whatever I am saying is the right thing. I always try to make her understand maybe it's a difference of opinion, right? It's a human nature. Maybe if we are talking about something, it's not a universal truth, right? So it's a factor of opinion also. But she always discourages me that no, whatever I am saying is the right one, or you have to go in this way only. So from here, that's lack of confidence. She was trying to cut my creativity, right? Because she wants what she wants, right? Not what I am trying to say her. So, of course, toxic behavior is also one of the factors. So, all these factors involved in derailing your PhD journey. So, actually, I would say getting a good supervisor is a blessed. If you are getting a good supervisor, it's your blessed journey of PhD. Yes.
Is 3 to 5 year PhD timeline actually realistic, or is it just a joke?
See, if you talk about India particularly, yes, on papers, 3 to 5 years PhD is mandatory. But if I talk about India, sometimes people are taking 6, 7, and even 10 years to complete it. So again, it becomes, joke when it becomes a 10 years journey of PhD. Of course, by that time, scholars lose their interest. They get irritated with doing the same thing again and again. Because what happens is generally, when you write any proposal, thesis or papers, you got you got a rejection in that. Then you are doing rework on that, and again it's get rejected by the publishers or by your supervisors or by your committees, right? So again you are working, and it's a very long process. It's keep on repeating. So of course you are this leads to demotivation, and sometimes people quit doing PhD, because when it exceeds more than 3, 4, 5 years, and when it's come to an end, they quit it. So because this is the most.
So, how much does infrastructure or the lack of equipments contribute to this delayed completion of PhD?
Yes, it happens sometimes with so many scholars I have heard about. So generally what happens is, they don't give students a proper access of internet, so they don't have a proper access of libraries where they can sit and, because PhD is the thing where you have to give a lot of time for the reading and writing, and so they don't have a proper space to sit in, to have access of journals reading, for the publications. They don't provide them tools, apparatus, and all the laboratory stuff also. So that is a one major challenge for the PhD scholars. So sometimes what they have to do, on their personal expense, they get it repaired to get an access, or sometimes they have to look for outside libraries, or to other universities or colleges to get all such access to complete their PhD thesis or studies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also,
But
why?
I am blessed enough, because I did not face such kind of trouble. I'm blessed enough, my college is providing everything on time. Yeah.
Lucky in that case.
Yeah, so getting enrolled yourself in a good university or colleges matters a lot. From where you are doing PhD, it also matters a lot.
Okay. Why do so many PhD students drop out in between, despite of being academically very strong? What could be the possible reasons for their dropout?
PhD is not just an academical challenge, it is an emotional, financial, and psychological journey too. It's not only intelligence matters a lot, but courage also matters a lot. So, sometimes, scholars quit in between because of isolation and loneliness, because PhD is a journey where you have to do a lot of self learning. It's a self learning journey, right? Supervisor can motivate you, they can guide you how to go about it, but you are the one who has to do a self learning in this, right? It's a self learning process basically. So isolation and loneliness is one of a factor the children face, and they try to quit. Again, a supervisor issues, since long we are discussing about that.
Yeah.
So getting a supervisor, which kind of supervisor you are getting in, it's a good enough for your, she or he has a good knowledge of your topic, her behavior towards you, and all these things. And mental and emotional stress also, because it's a long journey. Your work, so many times your work gets disqualified also, and again you have to rework on that, and again you get a setback when it's not selected by the publisher to publish your papers in the journals, right? So it is a mental and emotional stress, and sometimes it happened with me as well, but I'm blessed enough, my paper has already got published in the Scopus itself, wherein yes, my supervisor equally, I just wanted to acknowledge for this for my supervisor. She was the equal part of publishing my this thing. Right now also she used to send me whenever any publisher take out a call for papers, so she keep on posting me on WhatsApp, and this is how I'm doing my lot of papers getting publishing in good reputed journals. And funding and financial thing, it is one of the biggest challenge, right? Because PhD is a journey which requires a lot of funding and financial things also. So sometimes what students have to do, I mean the scholars have to do, is they have to look for the part-time jobs also to bear that cost which PhD is actually demanding for. So maintaining balance between their jobs, right, corporate sector especially, if I talk about their families, their hobbies, their social life, and again studies. So it is a one of a again a challenge to maintaining work-life balance.
At what stage students usually lose motivation? Is it in the beginning, the middle, or near the end?
See, PhD is a self-driven work. Basically, it's not a structured learning, right? There is no as such deadlines or something. You have to do the work according to your pace. You have to submit your work accordingly, because there is no time limits over there, right? So there were days, I felt strong. There were days I feel like crying like anything, right? So there were nights I stayed awake reading, papers, journals, and everything. And even in the morning when I wake up and I ask myself why I'm doing this, so such kind of questions comes in the beginning, that why, how it will happen. And financial stress is one of the factor, because you have to clear with the dues of the university and colleges. That is a one factor comes in the beginning, not the pressure of PhD journey. But yes, second yani ki middle stage matters a lot, because that is the actual stage wherein you have to work for thesis, where you have to work for paper publishing, where you have to do a lot of research work basically. Research work and literature reviews are main hardcore of the PhD. So in this stage, pressure of publishing your paper takes your mental peace, right? This even I have faced, because I have to work twice on my papers, and then it got published. So I was blessed enough or lucky enough that I just have to redo a single time. But generally what happens with the scholars, they have to redo their work even n number of times to get it published in the publisher, and then to not, well-known publisher. So that ruins everything, their mental peace and everything about it. So this is a major factor, a major stage, you can say, where a lot of scholars quit themselves
Lose
doing PhD
motivation.
journey, because again, a lot of family pressure is there, financial things are there, because you have to plan your finances accordingly, conflicts in research, what you are doing, because a supervisor, when they thorough with your work, or when they go through your work, once you completed, and suppose once you completed giving your n number of days in your one research work, and your supervisor is saying it's not worth it at all, you have to redo it again. It's a one of a major setback in your life, right? Doing entire thing again since scratching until end, which you have given n number of days to complete it. So that is a major setback in a one's life, I mean the scholar's life. So middle stage is the stage where the children try to quit in the PhD itself. But yes, when you talk about the final stage, which is the third one, viva fear is there, submission of writing of thesis is there. But yes, of course, yeah, ek fatigue, or fear of submitting the things are, because that's the end part of your journey. So completion of all the documentation, taking all the approvals from your supervisor, from your committees, combining them all together, putting in a one file, submitting it to your examiner, giving your viva is a stress. But yes, there is a less chances of quitting it, because scholar knows that they have already covered the so much of the thing to completing their PhD degree. But the major thing is only the middle stages there, where they feel like quitting, and most of the students quit. I have heard about the people who have quit in their middle journey. So yeah, a lot of confidence and courage is required to continue with your PhD journey. Yes.
Is doing PhD financially worth it in today's job market?
Yes, it is.
It is.
But not everywhere. It depends on what you are choosing for, right? If you are going into the education sector for the lecturers in the colleges, or assistant professors, associate professor, or professor, so yes, you are getting a good earnings in India if you are working with the good universities and colleges, right? So there are factors in the there are certain grades of the colleges, A grade, B grade, and C grade. So that depends on you, that where you are working with and which college you are working with. If you are working with A grade colleges, of course you are getting a good and handsome salary to survive in, which gives a lot of confidence. So if you talk about corporate, so they don't give you much salary in terms of when you talk about monetary terms, because they don't require PhD people. Instead of that, they can hire 2 people who are already having a practical experience or knowledge into it. So that is the thing. So basically, if you go for the education sector and relevant, you get a good earning rather than corporates. Yeah.
What is a realistic starting salary for a PhD in India?
So when you talk about actually about a salary, so fresher, if I talk about a fresher, so yes, it like depends on if you're working in a good college, so it depends on you and your capabilities. It depends on how much papers have been published in a good publisher, with a good publisher. That also matters a lot. It's not just PhD degree, you are taking it and you are going it, putting doctor in front of your name. It will not work out until unless you don't have a good handsome number of papers published with a good publishers. So if you are okay, you're completing all these bars with them, yes, 70,000 to 1,20,000 is a beginner salary, I mean a fresher ones. And then of course with the passage of the time, you get experience, of course you are getting a proper grade from UGC. Yeah.
Is PhD and jobless a real problem, or is it just an exaggeration?
No, I don't agree with this statement. I'm a live example sitting in front of you. I'm doing my PhD also, and I'm doing my PhD, and I'm working in a corporate sector as well, then to MNC, wherein I am handling a multiple projects under it, right? So generally, the people who are jobless is the main reason behind is, they are running after to get a degree, a piece of paper, and they think they are getting a PhD degree and they will get a job. So in terms of reality, actually, people will remain jobless only because they are after their research work. They are more into theoretical part. But when you comes or you hit practical, you hit jobs, when you come onto the job floors, so practicality matters a lot, wherein your communication skill is the most important factor when you come into the job. How you're presenting yourself, how you're indulging with your colleagues, how you're taking your, your stress, how you're conducting yourself, a lot of ethics involved in it. So all these things matter a lot. Of course, research and theoreticals are there, but practicality is more important than theoretical. So that is the only reason. If I talk about jobless, so yeah, 20-30% ratio is there, and just because of these factors. Otherwise, I won't be agree with your this statement. PhD has itself our own weightage, right?
Okay, Rachna. So I have a few friends who started off their PhD journey, and I started off with my corporate journey at the same time. Today, after almost 5 to 6 years, they have just completed their degree, and I am earning a handsome amount of salary, and even I'm able to save for my future. But on the other hand, they are still jobless, looking for job, and even contacting me at times asking for job. So, what is your take on this?
So I think you feel pleasure when they, contact you for the job. Right, well said, Mehak. But maybe I have a different opinion on that, which I would like to share with you. See, every PhD holder is not a jobless, right? So earlier also I mentioned, skills matters a lot, right? Just getting a degree will not work out until unless you will not work on your skills. And not only the skills, first of all, where the scholars get confused or they got a offbeat, they don't have a clarity doing the PhD. There are multiple fields they can go in, like first of all education sector, maybe professor, lecturer, and so on, and corporate sector is also there. So first of all, it is very, very important for the scholar to understand, to seek a clarity where they have to go in, either in education field or corporate sector. That is the most juggling part in the scholar, because they are the ones, they think, okay, after the completion of the PhD we will think where we have to go. So lack of clarity is the one thing. At the end they will not be able to do anything, because planning and plotting plays a important and vital role during your PhD. So once you are clear with the things where you have to go in, so accordingly, or you will modify your skills, so that will not make you jobless. Of course, I have many friends who have done PhD and they're on the high rise bar, and of course I see myself there also. Like if I talk about after 2 3 or maximum 5 years, I will be there. So of course, because I have that skills, I have already sorted with my things in which line I have to go in. So clarity actually plays an important role.
I feel lucky that I didn't enroll myself in PhD at that time.
No, I don't agree with this statement. It actually hit me hard. A PhD itself means a lot. It's not about only prefix doctor with your name, but actually it has some different weightage. It's more than intelligence. It's a test of the soul, right? So it rebuilds you in every sphere of the life. It's not only, it rebuilds you in emotional, physically, financially, every sphere. So PhD actually means a lot. I respect that the people are approaching you for the job, but it does not mean that the people who are doing PhD are jobless, right? Maybe they have not worked on their, skills or something like that, or maybe they are approaching you to upgrade themselves to reach to their final destination. So that's be important. That's maybe a aspect they are approaching you, but I think one should go for PhD degree. Actually, it molds your entire life, entire journey.
Thank you, Rachna. Thank you for your presence and giving us deep insights of a PhD journey.
Thank you, Mehak. It's my pleasure to be here with you.
To sum up, we should mark PhD as a degree of resilience, hard work, and courage, in which patience and upskilling yourself at every stage holds the utmost importance. So, in case you're doubting yourself or someone's telling you are not capable of pursuing this degree of PhD, then rewatch this episode to feel confident.